Okay, now here we are at the profit and cash flow improvement potential area of the profit and cash flow game changer. On the left here, you can see the 5 profit and cash flow drivers that we're going to discuss in this short session. The first one being the number of sales opportunities. The second being the conversion rate to actual sales. The third being your average sale transaction value. Fourth being the variable expenses of each sale. Scroll down just a tad, and our overhead expenses there at number 5, being overhead expenses. Now, what's happened here is from the data that we've actually input from the financials and other records, this has come straight through into this area of the calculator. And you can see here the number of sales opportunities at 5,200 or 100 opportunities per week. It's picked up the 1,560 actual sales that were actually made during the year. It's picked up our sales revenue of 500,000. It's picked up our gross profit of 200,000 and our overhead expenses of 137.5, and our net profit before tax of 62,500. The conversion rate, the average transaction value, variable expenses, cost of sales, and these taxation figures down here have all been automatically calculated and have flown through. Now on the right here you can see the graph which shows our current position and our potential position after making some changes. Now it's no real secret that improving profitability boils down to 2 things: decreasing expenses and increasing sales. And you can work on these either on their own or in combination to improve your profit and cash flow. Now firstly, decreasing costs. Let's take a quick look at costs, but I don't want to spend too much time on them, even though in my 30 plus years as a CPA dealing with many small business owners, costs are always an area that business owners are concerned with. It's also quite common to hear them say, look, I see you working harder and for longer hours, yet my profit's less than last year. I just can't understand why. Now when their tax accountant is posed with comments like this, they generally do a quick analysis of their client's profit and loss statement and say things like this. Oh, looks like your sales are down. Oh, you spent more here and there. And they do this without doing much in the way of any real analysis. And the conversation then tends towards a focus on costs and the potential savings that could be made. For example, oh, you've spent a fair bit more here on advertising. Well, the rent of your business premises has increased. No, your cost of goods sold percentage has increased, which has obviously reduced your gross profit. And wages and superannuation for staff has increased. And repairs and maintenance to equipment is higher than last year, etc., etc. The problem is that many of the costs that businesses incur are necessary, and simply cutting them without knowing what return those costs are bringing to your business can be extremely harmful. In my opinion, costs should be viewed as an investment made to improve the business and only cut if they have no real effect on the business in terms of service, quality or productivity. Nevertheless, better buying through negotiation with suppliers, improved productivity, as well as cutting out cost wastage, will generally find in the vicinity between 2 and 7% in savings. And let's just assume you can achieve at the lower end of these cost improvements, being 2%. I'm just going to dial in 2% savings here to our key drivers here, 4 and 5. So we're going to make some savings of 2% here in our variable expenses. We're going to also make some 2% improvements to our overhead expenses through cutting out some wastage. And you can see that your variable expenses per sale have got $3.85, and you've saved $2,750 here from your overhead expenses in making those changes. On the right here, you can see the graph, our current profit, which was 62,500, And as a result of making those small changes, our profit was increased to 71,250, an overall increase of 8,750, which are the total of those cost savings that have been made, and they've flowed directly through to your bottom line net profit before tax. Now, this is where it gets quite exciting, and I get excited anywhere from business owners. It's when we start focusing on sales revenue and particularly increasing sales. Now, it shouldn't be news to you, but increasing sales all boils down to more effective advertising and better processes within your business. Agreed? The sad reality is that most business owners get this horribly wrong by not having an appreciation of the highly effective marketing strategies and tactics used by successful businesses right around the world. Now let's look what happens if we make some additional small but very achievable improvements to each of the following key revenue driving numbers, being the sales opportunities, the conversion rate, those opportunities into actual sales, and your average sale transaction value. Now firstly, I'll just look at increasing the number of our sales opportunities through better advertising, or more effective advertising. Now let's just say we can improve this by 5%, which is going to give us an additional 260 sales opportunities across the course of the year. At this stage, doing that without making any changes to the other variables, our profit has now increased to $10,000, 62.5 to 72,500. Is that profit improvement there of $10,000? The second one I want to look at is our average transaction value. And if we can get some 5% improvements to these, which can come about through simply a price increase, it can come about through bundling your products, cross-selling, upselling and downselling tactics. And all of these combined will give you a 5% increase in your average sale transaction value. So doing that, increase our average sale transaction by $16.03 from the $320.51 to $336.54. Now again, going over to our graph here, our current position of 62,500 and our potential profit position of 87,500. Those changes to our average sale transaction value flow straight through to the bottom line. We're now getting $25,000 additional profit before tax, and after tax, $13,500. Now, if we focus on our conversion rate of those sales opportunities into actual sales, this business is basically converting about 30%. So for every 100 sales opportunities, they're actually converting 30 of those into actual sales. Now let's see if we can improve this by a mere 5% as well, which then means that we're going to pick up 35 sales out of every 100 that actually come into our business and giving us an opportunity to sell to. You can see here that your profit is, just by improving that variable, goes from 62,500 to 95,833. Profit improvement of $33,333. Now what we've just done is taken a look at changes to the individual variables of the 5 key profit and cash flow drivers. But gee, when you start looking at working on these in combination and making small changes to each of them, small but very achievable changes, let's look what happens. So we'll start again here with our costs, get our 2% improvements. General overheads, 2% improvements there. The number of sales opportunities, we're going to solve it up to 5%. Our average sale transaction to 5%. And our conversion rate of those sales opportunities, we're going to increase that So the percentage comes up to 35% or 35 in every 100. So you can see here on the right, the combined effect has a much greater bearing on your overall profit result at the end. 62,500 to 148,225. Now, in some cases, you can actually, or a lot of cases, you can actually get more improvements in these sales areas than what we've dialed in here. And just for example, let's say we can get 10% improvement here in our sales opportunities. Let's say we can increase our conversion rate to converting 40 of those opportunities, 40 in every 100 opportunities into sales. And let's say, again, through better weighting value, through bundling, better pricing, so forth, we can increase our average sale transaction value by 10%. All of a sudden, your profit goes from 62,500 to 240,717. Now, most business owners kill to get profit improvements like that. But let me tell you that those profit improvements are quite easy to obtain as soon as you become aware of the sales and marketing tactics employed by the top businesses and successful businesses around the world into your own business. And, if you get a really good handle on this process, you will see your profits and cash flow improve